Watching Sunday Morning Matters on KC24, your local election headquarters.
We are now 1 month out from the special recall election. September 14th is the date. Ballots have already started to show up in mailboxes, and 2 questions will be on it. Do you want to recall Governor Newsom? If yes, the second question applies. And so far, several polls suggest the leader in the recall clubhouse to replace Newsom if he's removed is this man, syndicated conservative talk show host, now gubernatorial candidate, Mr. Larry Elder. Welcome to Sunday Morning Matters. How are you, sir?
Alexander, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, as of today, you keep saying, hey, put a little bit in the tip jar. How much money have you been able to raise since you've been in the race?
Well, the last official number we had was a little bit under $5 million. It's much above that now. That means I've raised more money in 19 days than the other candidates, with the exception of one of them who can self-fund. It's going really well. And when you say throw something in the tip jar, tell them where to throw it. It's electelder.com, electelder.com.
Well, you just did it for me. So, you know, our company, Nexstar, along with Emerson College and a host of other polls, say the recall of Newsom is really a toss-up. How much are you really trusting these polls?
I really don't. You recall how bad the polls were off during the 2016 election. But I do know that the enthusiasm is on the recall side. It looks to me like the numbers are moving in our direction. About 2.2 million people signed the petition to have this guy recalled. And we're talking about 25 to maybe 30% of them are independents and Democrats. We just voted for him a couple of years earlier. People are fed up, Alexander. They're mad at the way he shut down this state in the most severe way than any of the other 49 governors. He had his own kids enjoying in-person private education while denying in-person schooling for the students here in California who are public school students. By the way, 80% of the public school students in California are black and brown, and before the pandemic, their educational results were not very good. Something like 75% of black boys in California cannot read at state levels of proficiency, and they were denied a whole year of in-school education. Black and brown parents, according to polls, want choice in school. They want the money to follow the child rather than the other way around. They want the opportunity to put their kid in a private school or religious school or a charter school if they can. And the teachers union are adamantly opposed to that. That's one of my big agendas when I become governor. And that's why I think I'm going to be able to attract a lot of independents and Democrats, many of whom are black and brown, who have traditionally voted Democrat, because the number one way to leave poverty and get to the middle class is a quality high school education, one presumably where when you do graduate, you can read, write, and compute at grade level. And all too often, the kids graduating from our urban high schools, when they go on to a junior college or to a 4-year school, end up taking remedial math and remedial English because they did not get it when they were in high school. Their schools were just substandard. So I'm going to be mentioning that, and of course, crime and homelessness. And the outrageous cost of living for the first time in our state's history, and I think we're about 170 years old, if I'm not mistaken. For the first time in our state's history, there's a net migration out of the state. And these are not the millionaires and billionaires that Bernie Sanders like to talk about. These are people making between 50 and 100K. And the number one reason they cite for leaving California is that they can't get that first home. It's because the environmental extremists have had a stranglehold over Sacramento for a very long period of time, and we have a housing shortage to the point where the average home in California now costs $800,000, and the average price of a home in California is 150% more than the national average. And every home in California, according to one of my frequent guests on my program, his name is Leo Haney, he's a brilliant econ professor at UCLA. He says the average price of a home in California is literally 50% more than it would be but for these draconian environmental regulations. So when I become governor of California, I'm going to loosen those.
Mr. Elder, you know that there was a new state mandate for teachers this week. Governor Newsom putting in a public health order there in hopes to get more people vaccinated. If you do become governor in September, will you reverse all of the state mask and vaccine mandates when it comes to healthcare workers, state and city employees, and for kids wearing a mask in school?
Yes, I will. Everybody in California who wants to get vaccinated pretty much can get vaccinated. Poor people can get vaccinated for free. So a lot of people have made the decision, whether you like it or not, that they don't want to be vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. I'll be 70 years old soon, and I've got comorbidities. I've got a blood condition, and my doctor urged me to become vaccinated. But a lot of people, to me, very understandable reasons, don't want to be vaccinated. Either they had an adverse reaction to a vaccine before, or they feel that it was rushed too quickly. After all, didn't Joe Biden and Kamala Harris say that if Donald Trump told them to take a vaccine, they wouldn't do it. And Kamala Harris even repeated that during one of the debates. And a lot of people just feel that they don't trust it. I was in Palm Desert just a few days ago, Alexon, and I go in. It was a coffee shop like a Starbucks, but it wasn't a Starbucks. Mm-hmm. And some of the wait staff had masks on, some of them didn't. And I was waited on by a very charming woman who told me she was a senior in college. And she didn't have a mask on, and I asked her why she didn't have one on. Did the boss have a mandate, have a policy? And she said, yeah, the boss's policy is we can make our own decision. And I said, well, why don't you have a mask on? And she said very nicely, very respectfully, she wasn't defensive. She said, I don't really need to give a reason. I just don't want to. Isn't that America? Thomas Jefferson warned about trading freedom for public safety, and I think he was right.
What about saving our kids? You know, the argument there is this is protecting our kids that are not eligible for the vaccine.
Well, from what I can tell, kids are least likely to contract the vaccine, the coronavirus, and when they do, their symptoms are mild. It's the teachers that ought to be concerned about it, and the teachers are concerned. They can wear masks or they can get vaccinated, but I don't see how the science suggests that students should be wearing masks or should be vaccinated. I just don't see it.
Well, let me get to this. If you do, this week we're going to host a big debate for the recall candidates. You have chosen not to be in the debates. Why not?
Well, the first part of the ballot, as you know, is that Gavin Newsom has to be recalled. Mm-hmm. That requires 50% plus one vote. It doesn't matter what what happens on the Republican side if that part isn't done. So I've always urged my Republican rivals, and I've done the same thing, let's train our cat and fire on Gavin Newsom. Let's talk about the crime. Let's talk about the homelessness. Let's talk about the outrageous cost of living. Let's talk about the way he hypocritically sat at that French Laundry restaurant with the very people that drafted the mandates while he was not engaging in social distancing, not wearing the mask, and his own kids were enjoying in-person private education. Let's talk about that, and then we can sort out the rest of it later. The idea that we all should be involved in some sort of circular firing squad, we all know what the issues are. They involve drought. They involve the water shortage that we're having right now. They're involving the rolling brownouts because we've not invested in our energy infrastructure properly. We all know what the issues are. The number one thing to do, however, is to garner public attention for the failures of Gavin Newsom so that he is recalled, and then we can sort out the rest of it later on.
Okay, so let's finish with this, Mr. Elder. If Newsom is not recalled, and there's a good chance that he will not be, will you challenge him in 2022?
Don't be so negative. There's an excellent chance he will be. In fact, 53% of voters say even if he isn't recalled, they don't want him to have a fresh 4-year term come next year. So if he is not recalled, I'm still going to be in the game. I'm still going to be challenging him, and I'm still going to be a formidable part of this whole conversation come 2022. How's that?
That's what I wanted to hear from you, and I'm sure some of your supporters wanted to hear from you as well, as 2022 is certainly a viable option, as a lot of the other candidates have not mentioned that at all. So we appreciate your time. Larry Elder, running for governor. Appreciate it.
Alex Stein, thank you very much for having me. ElectElder.com, electelder.com.